when I read your book, so we'll talk about Revolt Against Reality. There's a certain problem, and you mentioned this a while ago: the craziness, the insanity, and you noticed this in the world today. And you used a different methodology in determining the root cause of this problem. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to spin conspiracy theory, because you could
Mm,
events in the world, there's usually multiple causes and not
mm,
just one cause. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just, putting together my own view on life. So what I did was I tried to back engineer things and look at the causes of the things today, and then and trace it back into history. So I'm going backwards. My
mm,
original research was backwards, deeper into
mm,
history, so I can
mm,
identify causes that lasted longer and affected more people.
mm.
And then when I wrote the book, I switched it around. So it actually begins at the beginning
Yeah,
in the garden, and I carry it all the way up till today.
yeah, yeah. And for the sake of the audience, the insanity that we're talking about are all the crazy things you see in the West today: gender ideology, radical feminism, the attack on marriage, all those stuff. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And a lot more too. It just seems
There
to
are, yeah, there
keep
are.
popping out of nowhere.
Yeah, abortion. What
Yeah.
else can I? Yeah, the book is, yeah, basically a history book.
Yeah.
I won't spoil the book to the listeners. I suggest that everyone should read it. There are just stuff, Gary, that I'm very amazed about, and I'll just try to sample from each of the five parts of the book.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I love how you began, as you mentioned, from the very beginning. So in the beginning, there was sanity. So I love that line. It's a totally
Yeah.
different perspective to me of the creation story. Can you expound on this?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the definition of truth is when what is known corresponds to what is.
Mm,
Okay. And that's also the definition of sanity, where you live in accord with how things truly are. And
mm,
so the definition of insanity is the degree to which what is known does not correspond to what is,
mm,
right? So if
mm,
I say I'm a good person, that might be true. If I say I'm a great person, that's a little crazy. But if I say I'm the son of God, the creator of all things, that's nuts, right? That's total
yeah,
insanity,
yeah,
because I'm not. And it's completely divorced from how things are.
yeah, yeah.
In the beginning, God creates through his wisdom. And there's
Mm,
this beautiful pairing of God's wisdom is manifested in creation. So we can know God through creation.
mm,
Creation is intelligible. We can understand it. There's an order, a
mm,
deep order within creation. And of course, he creates Adam and Eve, and Adam and Eve likewise. They were sane. They understood how God created, and they knew God. And there was this beautiful harmony, and it's almost like a symphony in
yes.
creation. And so I go in depth about just
Mm,
pulling out things from Genesis that you probably never paid attention to,
right, right.
and ultimately that sets the stage for the first revolt against sanity, which is, of course, the serpent in the garden.
Right. Well, oh, yeah, and you mentioned some things that you might that we might not like pay attention to. One thing that blew my mind is your perspective on Adam and Eve eating the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Mhm.
And you said in the book that they say in the book you said they will be the ones to determine good and evil, which is basically moral relativism. So
Yeah.
I didn't see that before, which is a major problem in the world right now. So
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
really stemmed from the fall of man.
Yeah. In fact, I wasn't going to go all the way back to the beginning originally, but I noticed the serpent's lie. There's elements of the serpent's lie that
Mm,
just echoes throughout history. We keep falling for the same lie. And the lie is basically the serpent tells Adam and Eve, look, things aren't really the way they appear, right? God is holding on you. He's keeping you from being a better than what you are. And so he knows that if you eat of the fruit, that you'll be just like him. Okay. And then he says, knowing good and evil. And in this
Yeah.
context, it would be like determining good and evil. In other words,
Mm.
God isn't goodness itself that creates things good. Behind the serpent's lie, it's like God arbitrarily chooses what's good and what's bad. And if you come to this knowledge through eating, you too can determine what's good and bad. And so there's that divorce again from what is and what is known, right? And so they buy into it and they realize it's a total lie, that the good God really was looking for in their best interest, and that there was this harmony, and that God doesn't determine good and evil. God is goodness himself, the measure of good and evil. And man, yeah, as you know, Jay, reading the book, it just pops up over and over in different ways throughout history, the same thing. And like you said, it ends up with not only moral relativism, that we can decide what's good and evil, but I mean, even in gender identity stuff, that
Oh yeah.
it's our wills that determine our biology. It's
Right.
not how things truly are, but what we call them, that's what determines who I am as a person.
And of course, God has a plan to defeat sin. And as Catholics, as Christians, we know this story. So it's a gradual return to the fullness of truth, to
Yeah.
reality, to back to
Yeah.
reality.
Hi, this is Jay Aruga of the Jay Aruga Show. If you like what you just saw, please consider subscribing and smash that like button. We'll need all of your help to take back the culture from this ideological colonization of the West. Thank you.